In days of legend, gods walked the earth.
Knights of the Zodiac is a live-action film adaptation of the 1980s manga. We are so fortunate to be witnessing the very first public look and discussion of this film.
Obviously, it's an honor to be a part of this and something that has such a huge fan base, but with that also there comes a pressure of wanting to give them, the best possible movie.
I honestly, truly believe that we are the best team to have brought this movie to life. I mean, we have Tomasz, coming off some amazing productions, leading this ship as the captain, as the director.
Now, speaking of that pedigree, you have been doing, Witcher, which I love, yes?
Coming back at Monday. And one thing which is also important, my background, I started in animation. Deep understanding of animation, why anime is so important for the world. It was for me easy, that's clear. That's something I don't have to learn. I know it. I know it deep in heart. And all the work was just to rethink this beautiful story which we have, just rethink it in the world of live action, which is different. It has different set of challenges, but this is also the world I understand. So it was a fun journey.
Everybody was great. I mean, not just the people on screen, but your Hungarian crew, our cast, everybody was such a joy and pleasure to work with. As an actor, when you get a script, you don't want to judge it for a hero or for a villain, left or right. You just want to read it and understand the guy, understand the character, understand where he's coming from.
Sienna, even though she is a goddess, part of her really just wants to be a young girl who can fall in love and be a kid, and she also kind of struggles with this loss of identity, which probably everyone in this room has felt at some point. I know I have. So I think I just really felt a deep connection with her.
We wanted to be really authentic about this franchise, and especially the heart of what was Saint Seiya with Knights of the Zodiac. So that was the first thing and last thing that I wanted to achieve. It's been a quite long journey. We had to go through 10 years to come over here, but I think it was worth it. And, audience will see the result and they will be satisfied.
So I think the fans are going to be in for a great movie.
Leader, Megayun, he's unfortunately not here, but he's really real talent, He grew up with a martial art background, so I think he will show something for the audience will satisfy, he's really good.
We have a lot of action scenes, which I love doing. My initial thoughts were how much extra work I have to put in to perform action in those suits, but it was really comfortable. Not a lot of these opportunities for Asian Americans, and it's an opportunity to show audience that Asian American talents exist, and we can bring as much fun and excitement and talent to a lead role.
Ostensibly, when you're at first watch, it feels like, it's just saints fighting each other, but when you dig deeper, what you realize is it's about underdogs. It's about people, outsiders, people who don't belong, and feel like they're behind the 8 ball and they can't win these battles, but they never give up. And I think that part of it, we hope that message, that thematic storyline gets through the audience, and they walk out it's like coming out of a Rocky movie. You're like, never give up.
Megayun from beginning, I know he have a really good background. He did some action movie before, so he have experience. But for Diego, he is brand new. He is the one, I would say, after the shooting, he's the one that most impressed me, because he really from very stiff to knowing how to perform, and really good. The next movie will be a superstar. Lucky I have the director and producer. They really knowing what they want. They have the vision, and then especially with Tomasz, he definitely knowing what he's seeing, how to tell the story from the action. I'm just supporting. I'm using my language, the fight scene to helping his dialogue, or how to, project the character, let the audience know who's a good guy or bad guy.
Yeah, I would say going into this project, obviously I knew it was an iconic character, and I did as much research as I could. I was also on a show, and I had about 2 weeks to prepare for this. So I did as much research as I possibly could, but more than that, I read the script, and it was, beautifully written. The character, it had its motives, it had its motivations, and I really tried to justify his actions. I didn't see him as left or right, villain or hero. I saw him as a person with a very strong point of view, And this guy was determined and very focused on his mission. And
in manga and anime, one of the most important things is the balance between the heart, emotion, and absolutely powerful action. And we know Seiya from action. And this guy introduced some really amazing stuff there.
The character, whatever they're using, or the style, or the move, is have emotion and have a story behind it. All the characters, they all have their own signature move, signature style, their symbol. My challenge is like, okay, how I transfer the animation action to a live action.
We can talk to you about the Sanctuary arc, the Poseidon arc, the Hades arc. We can talk to you about dozens of different characters in this story. And we love all of it. We just love being involved in these multinational big productions with a lot of different points of view, great collaborators, and it was really a team effort to get this movie made.
That's what's great about the mangas is every one of these characters, you flash back and you find out why they are the way they are. And so, thankfully, we had all that to dig from. We didn't have to create backstories. Every one of the characters had their own backstory, and we just leaned into that and did our best to express it on the page as we typed.
No, we're not like a gigantic budget like most studio, M Studio, they have no limit money, and time. We have certain. So I remember the very beginning with Tomasz and Yoshi. We talked about, and then Tomasz already have a really good idea how to make this movie have every single panel can show in production and find a right way to do this movie.
Because actually what's great about the IP, the source material is the villains are the best. It's because it's really hard to write good villains, but all the villains have really clean, clear motivations. You understand why they are how they are, and it doesn't necessarily justify their behavior, but audiences just need to get it, and they need to believe it, and they need to think these villains are three-dimensional and not just mustache twirling in the background. And I feel like it made our lives so much easier because the source material had that information for us.
The qualities, of course, yes, but also the diversity is something. Even the original material, all the characters trained and born and grew up in the different countries, and they have their own reasons, and that kind of reflects their own cultural values, and coming in together, and sometimes that becomes a conflict. Something that I wanted to also portray and reflect it in our casting. And we were lucky to have all the cast, on this film.
Seiya is just such a fascinating character. And he put aside all that past trauma and fight on behalf of the better good of the world. And that's such a universal journey.
And we hope you guys love this movie as much as we love making it. Now let's take a selfie. Yep.